Sawubona creative visionary, igama lam, Tembi Chelezi, Queen Bringer of Good Hope. Welcome back to episode 9 of Whispers of Wisdom, Reflections and Realizations. As the mindfulness mentoring session concludes, Alex remains seated in the serene quietude of the cabin, enveloped by the golden hues of the setting sun filtering through the windows. The session's emotional depth has left him both drained and strangely liberated, having been nudged to face the depths of his past sorrows. Relief washes over Alex as he reflects on the session's end. For the first time, he was permitted, encouraged, even to delve into the depths of his emotions, a journey he had never allowed himself to undertake so fully. Queen's guidance had been empathetic, yet firm, providing him with the security to explore his vulnerabilities. Needing to clear his mind, Alex steps outside into the cooling embrace of the evening. The cabin's warmth gives way to the crisp air as he walks the rugged path that winds through the surrounding woods. The tranquil sound of nature, a distant bird call, the soft rustle of leaves underfoot, offer a stark contrast to the session's emotional intensity. As he walks, his mind slowly unwinds the tightly wound memories of his past, focusing on the unaddressed grief that had silently shaped much of his adult life. The loss of his grandfather, a pillar of strength and wisdom in his life, had created a void that young Alex had struggled to understand and cope with. The shock of that loss, the sudden absence of a beloved role model, had been a formative moment, one that had never truly been examined or healed. Alex recalls the days following the news, the somber atmosphere at home, his family's varying expressions of grief. Each memory is vivid, as if no time had passed, yet viewed through the lens of his current understanding, they reveal deeper layers of pain. He thinks about how his father's despair and his grandmother's inconsolable sobbing had forced him into a role he was not prepared for. The man of the house, the rock his family could lean on when he himself was crumbling inside. This role, thrust upon him without choice, had become a defining part of his identity. Alex recognizes now how this expectation to always be strong, to suppress his emotions, and carry the family's emotional burden had left little room for his own mourning. It had stunted his emotional development in ways he had only begun to understand through the mindfulness mentoring session. With each step through the forest. Alex feels the weight of these revelations, understanding more clearly how these early experiences with loss and forced maturity had left him vulnerable. He had become an easy target for manipulation, a man desperate to feel understood and supported, which ultimately led him to trust the wrong person during a similarly vulnerable time after his friend Nicholas's death. The path led him to a small clearing, a natural pause in the landscape that mirrors his need for reflection. He stops, taking a deep breath of the fresh, pine-scented air, allowing the tranquility of the woods to soothe his stirred emotions. This moment of solitude amidst the whispering trees grants him a rare opportunity to confront his grief openly, without the need to be anything to anyone but himself. As the sun dips lower, casting long shadows that dance gently around him, Alex feels a subtle shift, a lightening of the burden he has carried for so long. Here, in the quiet of nature, he begins to grasp the full extent of his unhealed wounds and the path he must walk towards healing and true emotional freedom. As dusk begins to settle over the forest, Alex finds a log to sit on. As the dusk begins to settle over the forest, Alex finds a log to sit on, his gaze fixed on the slowly darkening horizon. The quiet of the evening allows him to dive deeper into the connections between his past and his present, connections he had long avoided confronting. Nicholas had been more than just a friend. He was Alex's confidant and wingman through countless life challenges. They had supported each other through highs and lows, including Nicholas's turbulent divorce. But Nicholas's sudden death, his suicide, had left a void in Alex's life that he couldn't articulate, a shock that was too sudden and too profound to process in a healthy way. Sitting in the solitude of the woods, Alex reflects on how, after Nicholas's death, he had felt utterly isolated. Nicholas, who had always been his source of strength during chaotic times, had taken his own life, leaving behind unresolved pain and 2 children. It was a reality Alex struggled to accept. The permanence of Nicholas's absence, conflicting with memories of their time together, when Nicholas seemed indestructible. This loss had come at a time when Alex was already emotionally unstable, grappling with unresolved grief from his grandfather's death. The compounded effect of these losses had left him seeking connection, any form of solace, to fill the gaping hole of loneliness and confusion. It was during this vulnerable time that the emotional affair began. She had appeared understanding, a comforting presence who seemed to offer the empathy and support Alex so desperately needed. However, the relationship quickly escalated, driven by his unaddressed pain, and her ulterior motives, which were not initially clear to Alex. It had started as a shoulder to cry on, but had spiraled into a complex entanglement that ended in blackmail, threatening to expose their affair and destroy Alex's reputation and career. Now, as the sky darkens and the first star begins to twinkle, Alex realizes how his lack of emotional processing had made him susceptible to manipulation. He had mistaken temporary comfort for genuine understanding, a misstep born from his fear of facing his grief alone. This moment of reflection in the tranquil woods allows Alex to acknowledge the painful truths about his emotional dependencies and the consequences they had brought onto him. The journey of understanding and healing is daunting. Yet Alex feels a sense of clarity as he connects the painful dots of his past, laying a foundation for the mindful work he intends to pursue with Queen's guidance. He knows now, more than ever, that resolving these deep-seated issues is crucial, not just for his peace, but for rebuilding the trust and integrity he values in his personal and professional life. As night fully embraces the forest around him, Alex remains seated on the log, the cool air mingling with his heated thoughts. The weight of this realization presses down on him like the heavy darkness of the woods. He understands now that the betrayal he suffered was not solely the doing of an outsider. It was also a consequence of his own actions, decisions made from a place of unprocessed emotions and grief. With this insight comes a flood of emotions. There's a sharp sting of guilt for the choices he made in the aftermath of Nicholas's death. Choices that seemed to temporarily ease his pain, but ultimately led to greater turmoil. He feels a deep sorrow, not just for the loss of his grandfather and Nicholas, but for the loss of who he was before these events reshaped his life. Regret surfaces too, bitter and poignant. Alex regrets not seeking help when he first felt the overwhelming waves of grief. Regrets his reluctance to open up about his feelings, trapped by his own expectations of stoic masculinity. Regrets how these bottled emotions made him an easy target for manipulation. He sees now how his suppressed grief had clouded his judgment, making him vulnerable to someone who seemed to offer solace, but was instead looking for leverage. As he sifts through these emotions, Alex also experiences a profound sense of betrayal. Not just from the woman involved in the affair, but from himself. He had betrayed his own values by not addressing his emotional needs, by not being true to his feelings of vulnerability and seeking help when it was most needed. The night grows deeper, and the sounds of the forest seem to echo his tumultuous thoughts. Yet within this chaos of realization, Alex finds a seed of empowerment. Acknowledging these painful truths is the first step towards healing. towards not repeating the same mistakes. It's a moment of painful clarity, but also a pivotal point of transformation. This emotional aftermath, while heavy, is a necessary confrontation. Alex understands that moving forward, he must take active steps to heal, to process his grief properly, and to build healthier emotional defenses. This moment, though filled with regret and sorrow, also spark a newfound determination to change, ensuring that his future actions are informed by introspection and genuine emotional resilience, not by unresolved past pains. Back inside the cabin, Alex gathers his journal and pen, determined to use these tools to forge a path to healing. He outlines a plan based on Queen's suggestions: daily journaling to confront and manage his emotions, mindfulness exercises to stabilize his thoughts, and efforts to rekindle old, trustworthy relationships. Alex understands that healing is not instantaneous. He anticipates success, such as improved emotional resilience and a clearer understanding of his triggers. However, he also braces for ongoing challenges, potentially professional fallouts from the blackmail, and the daunting task of revisiting painful memories. As the cabin grows dim with the evening's approach, Alex lights a small lamp and begins to journal. Each word he writes is a step towards reclaiming his mental space from the shadows of his past. He writes about his fears, his hopes, and his determination to emerge stronger. But even as he charts his course for healing, Alex knows that some stones are still unturned, some shadows unlit. The blackmail remains a looming threat, a reminder of his vulnerability. How will he navigate these troubled waters? Can he truly free himself from the chains of his past? Stay tuned for the next episode of Into the Woods, where Alex's journey of self-discovery will challenge him like never before. Join us as he confronts the deepest fears that have shaped his life. So please subscribe so that you don't miss a moment of this compelling narrative of transformation and redemption. Make sure that you hit the like button and the notification bell so that you don't miss another episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I'm so thankful to have you here, and I'll see you in episode 10. Bye for now.